She stepped out of the car, shut the door herself, and within seconds, royal watchers knew something was different. Not because of what she was wearing, not because of who was with her, but because Kate Middleton had just arrived at a royal engagement from the driver's seat. In a world where every royal movement is planned down to the second, that single detail instantly sent social media into overdrive. Why was the Princess of Wales driving herself, and why now? Fan footage quickly began circulating online, showing Kate pulling up to Windsor Castle on a rainy afternoon. She emerged calmly from the right-hand side of the car, closed the door behind her, accepted an umbrella from an aide, and walked inside as if nothing unusual had happened. But for longtime royal watchers, this was anything but normal. Senior royals are almost always chauffeured to official engagements. It's not just about comfort, it's tradition, security, and optics, which made this quiet, unscripted-looking moment stand out even more. At first glance, some assumed there had to be an explanation, and technically there is one. Kate and Prince William now live just a few miles from Windsor Castle. After relocating in late 2025, the family settled into Forest Lodge, a larger home tucked away in Windsor Great Park. The distance from their front door to the castle is short enough to make driving herself entirely practical. No long motorcade, no complex arrival schedule, just a quick trip down the road. But convenience alone doesn't explain why this moment caught so much attention. The real reason it landed so strongly is because it subtly broke an unspoken rule. Royal engagements are highly choreographed, especially for someone as senior as the Princess of Wales. Arrivals are part of the performance. They signal status, structure, and continuity. When Kate chose to arrive alone, behind the wheel, it quietly disrupted that visual language. It made her look less like a distant royal figure and more like someone handling her own day, and that contrast was impossible to ignore. What made it even more interesting was how relaxed she appeared. There was no rush, no hesitation, no visible concern about being seen doing something out of the ordinary. She didn't linger or play to the cameras. She simply arrived, stepped out, and moved on. That confidence sparked a new wave of conversation online, with many people wondering whether this was a sign of a broader shift happening behind palace walls. In recent years, Kate's public presence has noticeably changed. She's been more selective with engagements, more intentional with her appearances, and far more controlled in how and when she shows up. Royal commentators have pointed out that her approach now feels quieter but firmer, less about constant visibility and more about purpose. Against that backdrop, driving herself didn't feel random. To some, it looked like another example of Kate subtly reclaiming control over how she operates within the role. Of course, none of this has been officially addressed. The palace didn't release a statement, no aides rushed to clarify the situation, and that silence only fueled more speculation. Some believe the move reflects evolving security arrangements now that the family lives closer to Windsor. Others suggest it signals a desire to normalize certain aspects of royal life, especially when circumstances allow it. And there are those who think it was simply Kate doing what made sense that day, without overthinking how it would be perceived. Still, when you're one of the most watched women in the world, nothing exists in a vacuum. Even small decisions can take on larger meaning. Royal fans began revisiting past moments, pointing out how Kate has increasingly embraced a more grounded image, school runs, hands-on parenting, and now, possibly, taking the wheel herself. It's a version of royalty that feels more modern, more relatable, and less distant than the one people grew up seeing. What's also worth noting is how quickly this moment resonated. It wasn't a grand gesture or a dramatic appearance. It lasted just seconds, yet it dominated online discussion because it felt real, unfiltered, almost accidental. In an era where the monarchy is constantly balancing tradition with relevance, those brief flashes of authenticity tend to leave the biggest impression. By the time Kate disappeared into the castle, umbrella in hand, the moment had already taken on its own life. Some saw it as symbolic, others as practical, and many simply found it refreshing.
Whether intentional or not, it offered a glimpse into how royal life may be slowly evolving, not through sweeping announcements, but through small, unexpected choices. And maybe that's what made this moment so powerful. One drive, one quiet arrival, no explanation given, yet it managed to raise bigger questions about independence, image, and the future of a royal role that's constantly under scrutiny. Because sometimes it's the simplest actions that reveal the most, and this rare move by Kate Middleton might be one of those moments people look back on and say, that's when things started to feel different.